Americans are buying up all the laxatives because they can't poop. Why can't they poop? A company is working on a synthetic alcohol that has none of the negative side effects of regular alcohol. And a teenager has passed away from the one-chip challenge, and it raises concerns. These are the weird stories from Monday on Weird AF News, the only daily weird news podcast hosted by a Los Angeles comedian inside a Los Angeles closet. I got stories, man. Stories. People are overusing laxatives because it's harder to poop these days. Let's find out why it's so hard to poop. I've been pooping pretty good, probably because I have copious amounts of coffee, which really keep me going. So if you buy Jonesy a coffee off my website, weirdafnews.com, you're actually buying me a movement, which is nice. Let's find out if this story is very moving. Hey guys, okay, the puns, I'll stop. It begins by saying the laxative aisle at your local store has become a barren wasteland as people fret over how soon their next bowel movement will come. I didn't know that the laxative aisle was a barren wasteland. I actually didn't even know there was a laxative aisle. That seems a little overdone to have an entire aisle devoted to laxatives. Do they do that at CVS and Walgreens? Is there a whole laxative aisle? I've never heard of such a thing. But then again, I don't buy laxatives because I have my coffee to keep me going. According to the Wall Street Journal, they're saying demand is surging for laxatives. Why? Why so many laxatives? Experts believe the current shortage is due to a combination of reasons. Get it together, Jonesy. Reasons, including an aging American population, the fact that most Americans don't consume enough fiber, and TikTokers. Oh, no, not the TikTokers. We blame TikTokers for everything. The stock market's down. The whales are dying. It's those dang TikTokers. Again, TikTokers using up the laxatives because apparently they're touting laxatives for weight loss is what it says in this article. I got news for you. Laxatives for weight loss have been a thing far longer than TikTokers have been around. People have been doing that. Also, they're blaming it on constipation brought on from hybrid work and travel, which could be another culprit. Certainly travel could be a culprit. When you're away from your home toilet base, it does become a little bit more stressful to have a movement, in my own experience. We have in this story Dr. Wendy, a gastroenterologist. Oh, I nailed that on the first try. Pretty good for a Monday. A gastroenterologist who runs a TikTok. Oh, my goodness. So a TikToker? Is she a TikToker or a gastroenterologist? Or both? Are we getting experts on TikTok now? Anyways, she goes by the SoCal Gastro Doc. She says that while laxatives can safely alleviate your constipation, her first recommendation for adults struggling with their bowels is to increase fiber. Wow, what an expert. I had no idea that you just increase your fiber. Whew, I would have never thought of that. Thank you, Wendy. I would have suggested eating more cheese, but what do I know? I'm not an expert on TikTok. Hybrid work and travel could be disrupting our bathroom routines, it says, and I agree. Hybrid work and travel can disrupt your normal routine, triggering changes in your normal bathroom functions. In one of Wendy's TikTok videos, she explains that our digestive systems are creatures of habit, and we typically want to feel comfortable when we're pooping. Wendy makes a lot of money to say such obvious things. I'm so jealous. Yeah, we all want to feel comfortable when we're pooping, and when we're traveling, oftentimes we don't feel comfortable, and our diet gets crazy when you travel. First of all, you could be eating food in a foreign land, as I was doing recently in Mexico. Oh, you better believe my digestive system was uncomfortable when I was down in Mexico. You better believe that was happening. Yeah, so that's a thing. Also, if you're traveling, like let's say you travel for work, even within the States, you might find yourself stuck having to rely on fast food choices, which in general are much higher in fat and lower in fiber. They're very processed, and that will affect your poop schedule for sure. I guess what they're saying here is people are traveling more and have hybrid work schedules, and this is leading to constipation. This hybrid thing, let's dig into that for a second. Wendy tells the media, I know personally when I work from home, I actually find it harder to eat healthy because I have so many delicious snacks around. She says working from home can affect how much you move throughout the day. Specifically, people are less likely to be commuting and walking around, so that definitely can cause or increase constipation. Well, I'm really sorry, Wendy, but I totally disagree with your work from home opinion. I think being around the home allows you to poop more regularly rather than when you're traveling around. Everybody knows when you're traveling, you just don't feel comfortable. You have to find yourself. Have you ever pooped in a very, very low-end grocery store, such as a Ralph's? Oh my God. I don't recommend that at all. I did it last week. It made me question all of my life's choices, pooping in that Ralph's. And difficult on every level. And then I'm trying to distract myself by reading the lovely poetry on the wall. I learned a lot about some lady named, what was it, Crystal, who likes to do things to people. They recommended you get to know Crystal. I tried to ignore all that, but I mean, yeah, at home, way easier at home. That's just my opinion. What do you guys think? Call the show, 646-450-2012. Jonesy, are you asking us to call the show and give our opinion about pooping? Yeah, I am. It's a weird news podcast. These sorts of things happen. A company is working on synthetic alcohol that has none of the side effects of the real thing. Alcohol without side effects? Isn't that like taking away the entire purpose of alcohol? I mean, I'm in it for the side effects, guys. Come on, don't you love waking up and realizing you've ordered some stuff from Amazon the night before and you don't recall? Hey now, what about waking up with a stranger? These are the things we want out of alcohol. In this story, we have a company out of London called GABA Labs. They're working on a sort of synthetic alcohol called Alcarel, which reportedly provides the very relaxing effects of alcohol without all those pesky hangovers, balance deficiencies, or any of its other negative side effects. They got a chemical here that they're toying with called gamma-aminobutyric acid, also known as GABA. It's a neurotransmitter that blocks certain signals in your brain, thus producing a calming effect. Got to be honest with you, I'll just do the alcohol at this point. I don't need a neurotransmitter that blocks signals in my brain. I'll just have a delicious Guinness. I mean, what do we got to go through all these hoops for to have the calming effect of alcohol? Some sort of chemical interference in my brain? Yeah, okay. I'll just have a gin and tonic, bro. I don't need a neurotransmitter. We don't have to go this far. And what are the side effects of blocking signals in my brain? We're going to talk about that, GABA? I don't know what GABA's been smoking, but I'd like a little bit of that. They say here, when alcohol reaches the brain, it binds to GABA receptors and produces the same effects, relaxing and calming people down. The problem with the alcohol is that it also has other negative side effects like a hangover, movement difficulty, speaking and thinking problems. GABA Labs is currently working on a type of synthetic alcohol called Alcarel that is supposed to provide all of the positive side effects of alcohol consumption, but none of the bad ones. Be careful when you say none of the bad ones, GABA, because if you're telling me I can take a bunch of these neurotransmitting chemicals and then operate heavy machinery, you're opening yourself up here for a lawsuit. I'm going to say you can probably get a DUI on the GABA as well. We have a quote from the GABA Labs founder, Dr. David Nutt. He says, "It feels like what a glass of wine feels like, feels relaxing, makes you a bit more chatty, a bit more socially engaged with the people. Now, we know where in the brain alcohol has its good effects and bad effects and what particular receptors mediate that. GABA, glutamate, and other ones such as serotonin and that old dopamine. The effects of alcohol are complicated, but you can target the parts of the brain that you want to target. That's what we're doing. We're targeting parts of the brain." Now, in case you're wondering, how do you take in Alcarel? What is it? It's tasteless. It can be added to other drinks, such as alcoholic or non-alcoholic beverages, to boost the tipsiness potential without the negative side effects. Would you just drop some of this in your Jack and Coke? That sounds like a good night, actually. They're saying this is a groundbreaking prospect in itself, considering the serious health problems that are linked to the alcohol consumption. If people could get their fix from synthetic alcohol without suffering damage to their liver, heart, brain, etc., that could potentially save millions and millions of lives. I have a hard time believing that these chemicals that they're making in a laboratory don't on some level affect your liver, your heart, or your brain. I mean, you can say that all day, but I don't believe you. I don't believe you. Now, GABA Labs is hoping to launch Alcarel by 2026. The product has been in development for some time now, but the regulatory process has been very slow. One of the reasons is that this is not a natural product, unlike alcohol, which has been produced and consumed for millennia. However, the founders of GABA Labs claim that just because something is natural doesn't automatically make it good for you. Plus, they are betting that for many, enjoying the positive effects of alcohol without the hangover will be a pretty powerful reason to partake of this, even if it's not very natural. Yeah, but there's other choices too, like a Xanax is pretty good and no hangover from the Xanny. And, I've had a good time on various pills such as Vicodin. That's one we really like. When I say we, I mean me. That's a good one. No hangover from that either. There's other things you can do, other than alcohol that give you the same effect and without the hangover. But anything that's going to give you this effect is suspicious. It's going to have side effects. There is no free lunch in this world, children. I've learned that by being on the planet for a number of decades. Nothing is free. Everything comes with a cost. They have a saying out there called pick your poison. Have you heard that? Pick your poison. That's right. We all have a poison. And everything comes with a cost. Would you try synthetic alcohol, though? Would you add it to your alcohol? That's what I'd like to know. Call the show, 646-450-2012. Want to create your own podcast? Spotify's platform lets you easily make, record, and distribute a podcast everywhere, even earn money, all in one place for free. It's called Spotify for Podcasters. Record, edit on your phone or your computer, send it to Spotify and everywhere podcasts are heard. They even have video recording options. Spotify for Podcasters allows you to earn money with ads and subscriptions as well. Best of all, it's free. Try it. Download Spotify for Podcasters or go to spotify.com/podcasters to get started. And good luck with your podcast. Good luck with your life, man. Yay! A teenager's death leads to concern over the one-chip challenge. Are you familiar with the one-chip challenge? I believe it originated on TikTok. People eat one extremely spicy tortilla chip. It is over-the-top spicy. I've even watched celebrities try and get through an interview after they eat this chip. I forget what that web series was called, but yeah, you get to watch the celebrity eat the chip and then answer questions. And in most cases, they can't get through the interview. They just immediately start crying and drinking milk. Fascinating. The one chip challenge, extremely spicy chip. I don't know what this chip is made out of, but they're claiming it may have caused the death of a Massachusetts teenager. And there's an outpouring of concern about the social media challenge, and it's prompted retailers to actually pull the product from their shelves at the manufacturer's request. Now, the family of the teenager, named Harris Woloba, says that they are awaiting the results of an autopsy to determine exactly what killed him, but they are blaming the teen's death on the one-chip challenge. The challenge calls on participants to eat an extremely spicy chip and then see how long they can go without consuming other food and water. Police are saying that they were called to the home and found Woloba unresponsive and not breathing. He was transported to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. The medical examiner's office said it will likely take weeks before the cause of death is determined. But the chip's manufacturer, a company called Paqui, asked retailers to stop selling their product. And people have been weighing in on their own experiences with this one chip, which costs $10 roughly and comes individually wrapped in foil in a coffin-shaped box that warns, among other things, that it is made for the, quote, vengeful pleasure of intense heat and pain, is intended only for adults and should be kept out of reach of children. Despite the warning, children have had no problem buying these chips, and we've seen that fallout trickle into TikTok challenges. And the issue is trickling into schools. Recently, a 10-year-old Florida girl was suspended for bringing one of these chips to school. Apparently, a student needed medical attention after coming into contact with the chip while at school, according to the suspension letter that was sent to the girl's parents. There have been reports from around the country of teens who have gotten sick after taking part in the challenge, including 3 students from a California high school who were sent to the hospital. Paramedics were called to a Minnesota school last year when 7 students fell ill after taking part in this chip challenge as well. Now, as a result of all of this and the manufacturer's concern, The chips by Friday this past had all disappeared from the shelves of major retailers, including 7-Eleven and Walgreens. Amazon halted sales and was notifying customers who bought the product recently that Paqui was removing it, and eBay said it was blocking one chip challenge listings as well. All along, sales of the chips seem largely driven by people posting videos on social media of them or their friends taking this challenge. They show people, including children, unwrapping the packaging, eating the chip, and then reacting to the heat. Some videos show people gagging, coughing, and begging for water. I've even seen someone in a video throw up as a result of this chip. Now, the company Paqui is a subsidiary of the Hershey Company. They say in a statement on their website that they're deeply saddened by the death of Walaba. They say they have seen an increase in teenagers and other individuals not heeding these warnings on the packaging. As a result, while the product continues to adhere to food safety standards, out of abundance of caution, they are actively working with retailers to remove the product from the shelves. This is wild. You never see this from a manufacturer. They always put their profits ahead of the safety of the citizens in most cases. So this is pretty amazing that they're willing to take a hit here. You know, I would love to see this sort of problem-solving behavior seep into more concerning areas of our culture. You know, wouldn't you? I mean, one child dies by one chip. They're like, let's get the chips off the shelves. Thousands of children die by guns. What do we do? What do we do, guys? I don't know. We can't do anything. We can't do anything about it. So sad. Our hands are tied. We just can't do anything about that. The kids just can't. Now, perhaps you're wondering, is it the chip that probably killed this child? I mean, the autopsy has still to be released, but they asked a doctor in this story about it. Doctor says, you can have very mild symptoms like burning or tingling of the lips and the mouth, but you can also have some more severe symptoms with a chip like this. Doesn't say what the symptoms could be. And they asked an associate professor of emergency medicine and medical toxicology who said these chips can be dangerous under certain circumstances. Here's a quote from Dr. Peter. Well, it's very possible eating these chips with high concentrations of capsaicin can actually cause death. It would really depend on the amount of capsaicin that an individual was exposed to. At high doses, it can actually lead to fatal dysrhythmia. I'm a doctor. I should be able to say this word. Hold on, I'll try again. I've recently had some synthetic alcohol, so I'm having a hard time with big words. Dysrhythmia, or irreversible injury to the heart is what I'm saying. That's what I should have said instead of that big word. I don't know why I said that. Yeah, so, I mean, but it does look like the jury is still out on this actual cause of death. Was it the one chip? Was it something else? But I'd imagine if you approach the one chip challenge with maybe even a mild heart condition, there could be some concerns about that, right? Because this is going to be elevated heart rate, something as spicy as this. The videos I've seen look like people are just torturing themselves with this chip, man. I don't know why you would even do this to yourself in the first place. But then again, there's peer pressure involved in most of these cases, and I'm sure that was probably something that was involved in this case as well. And teenagers are very susceptible to peer pressures of all sorts. And I was too when I was a teenager. Not that I would have ate a one chip like this, because I'm not really crazy about that level of spice, but you can see it playing out like this rather easily when you imagine it. Anyways, be careful of these one chips. They're still out there, and you could probably still get them online. If you got children who are into this stuff, man, you just gotta, these challenges, man, they'll take you down. Just be on to it. All right, I'm rambling. Yay! Hey, I want to thank all of you for spending a little time with me in the Weird AF News podcast. I appreciate your loyal listenership and your time. If you're new to the podcast, we do Weird News 5 days a week. And on Friday, we only do Weird News from Florida. So if that sounds like something you might like to inculcate into your daily news routine, then please make sure you subscribe to the Weird AF News podcast while you're here on the app. If you're listening on Spotify, you can just click like. Very easy. And spend 5 days a week with me and my my army of weirdos that call into the show. I mean, you got to love that, right? Don't you just love the calls, guys? I mean, you never know where they're going to go. I love that. Anyways, you can always call the show 646-450-2012. Please do, especially if you were moved by any of these stories, like the bowel movement. If you were moved by the bowel movement, call. If you'd like to support the show, you can join my Patreon or buy me coffee off my website, weirdafnews.com. Great place to go to buy Jonesy a coffee or join the Patreon. Or you can download the Patreon app on your phone. Just do a search for Weird AF News. That's another way to support the show. We'll take any support you can offer. Appreciate it. Or just tell a friend. That doesn't cost anything but your time and small mouth movements, you know. I'm sure you can donate some small mouth movements to Jonesy's cause, right? Just tell a friend about this show, especially somebody that needs to be cheered up from the mainstream news debauchery. And it's saying debauchery is a nice way of putting it. It's actually quite debilitating in your brain, and it'll make you depressed, mainstream news. That's why we do the weird news, because you can laugh a little bit. It's a nice respite. That's another word I like to use, respite from the evil mainstream news, which, yeah, I would describe it accurately as evil. I really would. Anyways, you don't get anything evil out of me. I got no evil intentions here. There's no large corporation behind me. There's no agenda behind me. Just reporting the weird news and trying to make it funny and learn a little bit about the weird world that we all live in. That's all that's going on here, guys. No agenda for Jonesy. How could I possibly have an agenda? I'm a guy in a closet. What do you think? People in closets don't have agendas like this. Yeah. It's the guys behind the huge oak desks. You know those guys, right? The Rupert Murdochs of the media world. Those are the ones with agendas. Not little Jonesy. Nope, not broke-ass Jonesy. No agendas over here. Although I'd be easily bribed. That's for sure. I'd be easily bribed. I'm not going to lie. You could easily bribe me. That would be possible. Yeah, well, Jonesy has hard times sometimes. When the rent is due, it could be a tricky week. Anyways, I'm rambling and raving, which is a sign of psychopathy. So I'm really sorry about that. But I think I have a little bit of that psychopathy in me. I don't know where I got it from. I don't think it was inherited genetics. I think it's from all of the weird news I've done over the past 6 years. It's just made me this way. I'm now this way. Anyways, maybe you're this way too. Maybe you're one of us. One of us. One of us. Okay, I'm gonna let you go now. Please subscribe and be good to yourself, man.